Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. Men who can make an emotional connection with women. Yeah, y'all. You know what? And I started to call this something else, like some kind of like funny, like why average looking men win with women, part 257, since I've talked about that a lot. You know, I've talked about that a lot because, as you know, when you get into this dating coach thing or anything regarding the whole paradigm of man gets women, you always got the looks folks, you got the money folks, you got the game folks, and all of that, right? And all of those things work. And I've said that 1,000 times. And whenever I've said anything that went against that, all I do is just add to it. Say, hold up, there's another thing that works in there. Those things work. If you got money, if you want to deal with acceptable hoes, hell yeah. And if you got looks, maximize it while you still got it. Well, make sure you hit the gym. And shoot, you got game, shoot, hey, keep spitting it, right? But you get some men who might not have it. Might not have necessarily the status or the looks. They might have game. There's a strong argument that what I'm about to talk about is a form of game. But you have men who, well, even then, you still have some men who might not necessarily have what people consider game, but they get women like crazy, right? Because, what's considered game? Hey, being able to spit that hot fire and all of that, or, using some type of strategy, which is cool. But then you get some guys, they just being them. They just being them. They ain't really spitting it. You can't even call it a strategy. They just talking normal or something, right? And then, of course, they don't have any money and their looks are average. And, some of the biggest players out there, some of them, not all of them, of course. Most of the biggest players going to have at least a decent body. But you get some guys, they might be overweight, they might be short, little slim, about 3 or 4 teeth missing, something like that. But they get women like crazy. Now, what they doing? They make an emotional connection with a woman. See, here's the issue, right? Generally, the average man, when he's trying to get a woman, he's either appealing to her vagina or her logic. I don't know why the logic part, because women by nature are more emotional than logical. Their logical sense is maybe 20%. And please, nobody come on here talking about, they don't have any. No, they got enough. But they supposed to be emotional, though. Like, some guys don't like that, but no, it's emotional, because without that, the human race would have ended a while ago, and we'd be, like, incarnated into some, like, lions or something, right? Because if women were logical, most of them wouldn't have children. They really wouldn't. You got this little being that's going to stretch them out, put on weight, make their vaginas less tight. So it's like, going to slow them down. So if they were logical about it, and then they got to worry about the father, hey, if he going to act right. So if they were logical, most women wouldn't have kids. So the emotion part is good. Now, the emotion part is key, right? The emotion part is key. Now, as I was about to get into, most men, they either try to go with the logic part. They'll try to say, well, you know what? I got education, I got money, status, car, all that stuff. And some women will go for it. Those women actually, like a good gold digger or a woman, like just looking at their money and status, they're actually more logical than emotional. They ain't emotional. They shoot, you having money and status and all that, or you turn her on because you said you work a certain job. There ain't nothing emotional about that. That woman's making a cold, calculated decision. When she messing with you because of, you tell her your credit score, or she can verify it, whatever the case, and, you telling her you making $150,000 a year, and she see that you live in an exclusive neighborhood, that's not an emotional decision. She making a business decision at that point. She's an acculturated prostitute. She in business. She's trading her sex for your resources. That's logical, y'all. That's rational, right? So some men will try to approach them that way. Then, you get other men who try to approach them through the vagina. Those are usually the guys who are more, physically attractive in the sense, either physically attractive or have that rare thing called sexual charisma, right? So and those are two ways, right? So what happens to the guy who don't have, like, he can't make that he can't appeal to the woman's rationality, right? He can't, he don't have that money and status, right? And then physically, he might not be the most physically appealing sexually, yet he's still getting his. What he's doing, he's appealing to that woman's heart. Now, mentor said, I'll give him a name because I mentioned him a lot. Master Yao, he wrote in his landmark book of Mummerer that the key to a woman's sexuality is really her heart. That's the real key. If you can grab her heart, you can turn her on. What you get is some men who, they might not have that money and they might not have that look, but they figured out a way to connect with women. They figured out a way. And this is something I've observed. Like, when you get some cats out here who, like, okay, here's an example. Seminar I did, right? We had some dudes going through, doing, like, the men and women at the seminar doing scenarios and stuff. So we had this one dude who came up real cool. He's a big old dude, stocky brother, right? Oh, there's something else about that stocky brother thing I got to put in here. Right, why they be getting over. It's connected to all this, but he was a big old stocky brother, and I mean, he was killing it in the scenario. And you talk to him a bit, see, I was like, oh, what's up, man? Yeah, I'm saying, yeah, I see you good with the women. He was like, I got 7 sisters. When you get dudes who've been around, they grew up around a lot of women, dealt with them, and dealt with different personalities, they know how to, like, get past, like, that brain of a woman, which honestly, and I probably need to do another video on it. That's the worst way to get a woman. Don't have her think about it, because most of y'all wouldn't get play. And all these guys want these women to be more logical. Like I said, not only wouldn't they have kids, the amount of y'all getting play would go down tremendously. Because if a woman got logical, she wouldn't mess with a guy without, a certain amount of money or whatever. Most of y'all wouldn't get play. Trust me. Trust me. That's just it, if they were going to be totally logical. All right? So, so they managed to get past that, right? But they go for that heart. It's an emotional thing. Here's an example. And any men and women could say this. Like, if you got a dog or something, say you got a dog, and that's an ugly little dog. Let's just be real. Most people ain't walking around here with thoroughbreds anyway, or, like those dogs with papers and whatnot, pure breeds. Most people, if they got a dog, that dog's a mutt mixed with some stuff. It might be ugly and ornery, all that stuff, right? But you love that dog because that dog's tugging at the heart. This is what these dudes do. They just, for whatever reason, they get in a place where they can go at that woman's heart, right? And I mentioned, like, some big guys. Hey, a lot of big dudes. That's why you see a lot of big dudes with some women, because for some, I could break it down on my Deep Thought channel. I could break it down there, but for y'all, what happens is the guys tend to be more, they ain't really going for, like, the money or anything like that. They actually going straight for the heart. They making that connection. So they're like, hey, how you doing? They'll talk to her and stuff, find out how her day is. And they'll do it in a genuine way, not like a nice guy trying to pretend like you nice thing, right? And so they'll make that connection. Now, rarely do they get the play right away, but usually they're in a position where they can talk to that woman on a consistent basis. Right? And I've never seen that to fail. I've seen, very attractive women. Very, very attractive women I've seen. They'll be that one guy on the job. And dude don't look like much, but he can talk to the women. And then connect to them. They start opening up. Once a woman start opening up to you, like in any way, boom. You in there. You could probably get it whenever you want. But see, what happens is with a lot of guys don't really go for that. A lot of guys don't go for the heart, right? They go for the head. And like I said, if women get logical about it, a logical woman ain't gonna mess with most dudes. She gonna make sure he got this. She got the checklist and he gonna stick to it. She gonna mess with the guy with money. She ain't just like, why should I mess with this broke dude? Even though he cool with me, and then logically says, mess with this other dude, got some money, he can pay my bills and stuff, so they gonna do that. And then the womb thing, the vagina thing, only, honestly, in this particular culture, only a small percentage of men can actually turn women on in that way. It is what it is. Now, it's not to say a man can't get sex if he can't do that. He just got to go through the other ways. The best way is through the heart. Make an emotional connection to the woman, right? Because if you look at a lot of guys, that's why a lot of guys really don't understand women. They don't communicate with them at all beyond trying to get sex from them, right? So, but the guys who do that, oh man, those the ones be like having women going crazy, and dudes, you on the outside like, how this broke ugly dude getting this? He making that connection. Telling you, fellas. So anyway, something for y'all to think about. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.